Hey y'all, it's Lindsey.
Hey, and I'm Chase, and welcome to the Attained State of Mind podcast. We value the humanistic ability not only to change one's body through health and fitness, but also reaching new heights in mental and spiritual growth.
So if you have questions on how to improve your well-being in all walks of life and attain your goals and dreams, this is the podcast for you. So this is the Attained State of Mind podcast, and we hope you enjoy.
Ole do it. We're on.
Oh, okay. You feel like you should be like 3, 2, 1.
Nah, that's not how we roll around here.
Let's roll. Hi guys. Number dos.
Numero dos.
Yep. So Attained State of Mind podcast number 2, dropping to your platforms.
That's right. Yep, we are really going to try to focus on pumping one of these out maybe once a week.
Yes.
Hopefully at least bi-weekly.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I thought you were going to be like overzealous. I was like, by yourself then. Not
So we're
me.
going to be doing one of these every single day for at least an hour. If you have any recommendations on topics,
This'll be
please just
therapy.
contact us.
This will be therapy for us. I hope you're just there to enjoy the ride.
Yeah. But okay, so at least bi-weekly I think
Yeah.
is a good frame. If we can do it
Like
once a week, that would be
weekly.
great.
I like to do this. It's kind of fun. It's therapeutic. Honestly, it really is. It's fun.
Hmm. I like it.
It's a good outlet for us. Okay, so we're a lifestyle company, but we don't just focus on health and fitness. It's overall well-being. This podcast is not just going to be on diet and exercise. I mean, we told our story. This week we're going to do a topic called the duct tape method, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But I just wanted to drop that little hint that in the coming podcast, we have kind of a list running that we're going to cover the medical aspect from my standpoint of, how obesity can affect longevity of life and chronic medical conditions and all of that kind of stuff. And then we're also going to cover, Chase is really passionate about mental health and how exercise and nutrition directly correlate with that. So I just kind of wanted to throw that little nugget out there. If specifically this isn't for you, hang tight, because I do personally feel like this podcast can benefit every single person in some way.
I 100% agree with that. This is going to cover so many different things. And I love that you talked about the medical side of health and fitness and how dieting can kind of implement some of those negative side effects. And
Yeah, 100%.
the mental health side of things is going to be good, especially when it comes to metabolic adaptation, downregulation of hormones, which causes some different things of like depression, anxiety. Anyway, that's a podcast.
We can't
for
do
later.
it right now. I was going to say, here we go. Like
now we're getting into our
Chase-
passions, and now we just want to dive
Chase
into
and
it.
the
but
metabolic adaptation, our clients are probably like, delete.
they are
cut,
so tired of me
cut
hearing
off.
that.
I can't.
But it's like it's an epidemic. Anyway, I'm not even
Okay.
going to go in on that
No,
rant.
please don't. Move
But
on.
yeah, so this podcast is going to be on the duct tape method, and what really that is what happened. I mean, what do you think about when you think of duct tape?
Temporary fix.
It's a quick fix.
Yep.
If you have a hole you need to plug up, if you have something you need to bond together for an hour or two, duct tape's going to work.
Yep.
The same can be applied when you think about diet and nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this podcast is going to be, a health and fitness kind of related topic,
Yeah.
because so many people do this. So
I mean, I would say in our experience, okay, and then again, this whole situation that we talk about this is directly correlated off Chase and I's personal experience with these programs or these plans. I mean, like Chase was saying in the previous podcast, he had tried for years to try to do something and not being rude or anything, but just failed.
no, be rude.
No, I'm just saying failed at being successful in that. And after some research, it's not your fault. You don't learn anything by doing that. So anyway,
And I think that's the problem, is like, for one, people are uneducated about the subject. We were like that for so long, and we just didn't understand. And when you're uneducated, and we'll just spill Dr. Pepper everywhere, so that's cool.
Dr. Pepper Zero, we do not drink our calories around here. Cheers.
But when we're uneducated, we are very vulnerable to good marketing. And that's the problem with especially nutrition and fitness based articles.
Yeah.
It's so well marketed. I mean, everything is get abs in 60 days,
Yes.
fast for 162 hours, and
You know what's funny?
lose 30 pounds. I mean, like, everybody is looking for the quick fix. I really think that's what we mean by the duct tape method.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants instant gratification, instant satisfaction. Nobody really wants to think about the journey of where they really want to go and how long that's actually going to take and the right processes of doing that. If they're like, if I can cut corners, then that's what I want to do. And the problem around that is that when you try to cut corners and then when you buy in on things that most of the time sound too good to be true,
Right.
like get abs in 2 weeks or like 60-second abs. That's why, like, think about how popular P90X and Insanity is. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people around the world do these programs. How many people do you know personally that have actually had success on that? Zero.
Yeah. Couple things off of that. One, it's funny that you were saying that, like, and they like they know how to market to the population, specifically women, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So women's health magazines, Cosmo, People, that's where you're going to see those ads flip through towards the end of a 30-day fast or a 30-day cleanse. And it's so funny because one of our clients who has previously done all of these things sent that to me in a message. She was like, this physically makes me really upset because people believe this. And it was me previously thinking that this was going to work, and it may have lost me 4 pounds, and then I gain it all back, and I constantly am in this situation. And I'm like, she finally now sees it. Like, she doesn't see it as, oh, that's my way to, like, you know, lose all this weight. And again, this is our personal experience with things, but we're gonna talk about the most popular ones out here, and it may be some things that you guys do or tried, and again, nothing against that, but for us personally, and for the longevity of our situations, Chase has been doing this since, we said, what, 2-3 years now. It's not long term, and the reason why behind that is because it doesn't teach you how to do it long term, and it's not sustainable. For instance, there's a Optavia is a diet out right now where a lot of people that I know do it. A lot of people that I know have had success on it. I almost did it. I almost hit check out when I think I was 7 months postpartum. I was struggling. I breastfed for 5 months. Whoever said breastfeeding makes you lose weight, good for them, but not this one. Okay. Like, I held on to at least 15 pounds just to sustain that milk supply. So I was desperate. I was 15 pounds heavier than I'd ever been in my entire life. I didn't understand. I really wasn't eating more than 2,000 calories at the time. I really wasn't. I mean, Chase gets on to me all the time. He's like, you know, that's more than a serving, or like, I wasn't tracking it, but I'm pretty good about intuitive eating. And it wasn't moving. So a friend of mine reached out, and I almost did it. And guys, it literally, you eat maybe 800 calories a day total.
Absolutely hot trash. Maybe
at the most. And I know that for a fact because the fuelings are 100 calories each. You get 5 a day, and then you get 1 lean and green at night. And that's about 350 calories or so. And again, people have great success on it because you have no choice but to lose weight. But guess what? You can't work out. They market that. You cannot work out while you do that. And you know why? It's because you're in such a caloric deficit that if you worked out on top of that, you would be into dangerously low levels at the risk of needing medical help. And again, this is nothing against that company, the people that have had success on it. Like I said, I have tons of friends. It's just things that have not worked for us. And the reason why it doesn't work is because who can sustain that for the long term and not have metabolism issues that we're seeing, that Chase and I are personally having to coach off of how many clients right now. We have 18 or so people. I mean, how many of them are we having to do this for?
Yeah.
Over half.
Quite a bit of them. And no, I'm completely okay with being not nice about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like trying to like tiptoe around the subject because I really don't want people to think that I'm truly not. I just want to be educated. And from a medical standpoint of it, we know that is way below the metabolic needs to sustain life. It's just not going to work.
I mean, I'll definitely get into it. I'll be a little mean about it, but
okay.
Okay. So, the dietary recommendation, caloric intake for a 12-year-old girl is 1,200 calories. These companies are giving full-grown adults with a busy lifestyle who are mothers who are trying to take care of their family they're giving them 800 calories
who
a
are
day.
obese, number one, overweight and
Correct.
obese, whose their caloric intake would be way more than that just by their total BMI. Let's already talk about that.
Yeah, so I mean, not just like singling out Octavia in general, but Octavia, Advocare, Weight Watchers. So basically, the whole idea around a diet is to be in a caloric deficit. If you're in a caloric deficit, you're going to lose weight. These companies are just mainly doing this at an extreme rate because people see a lot of success extremely early.
Correct.
And I have a rule now that I like to tell everybody. If you're approached by a diet in some sort of marketing or somebody is telling you about it, if the diet doesn't have an exit strategy, it's hot trash.
What do you mean by that? Because you need to explain that.
No, for sure.
Okay.
So by an exit strategy. So here's the thing, and I guess we can go into why do diets fail so often. So the real research behind it, and this is not just like a statistic that we're pulling out. This is factual data that scientists have
it
really.
Is a stat. That's what that is.
It is a stat.
Yeah. It's not just an opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
So 95% of diets fail.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that 95% of people, don't lose weight, because a lot of people do.
Yeah.
A lot of people are successful with diets. But here's the thing is, if a diet doesn't have an exit strategy,
right,
then 95% of people all gain all the weight back, sometimes even more. Because they don't understand how to transition out of a dieting phase.
Correct.
And if you're on systems like Advocare, Octavia, Weight Watchers, those
Prove it, juice cleanse.
Yeah,
3-day fast, 60-hour fast.
It's going to tank your metabolism.
Yes.
It's going to downregulate all your hormones. You have potential of having thyroid issues and having
hair loss.
Yeah, I mean, all of your hormones are downregulated. Yeah. Even your hunger hormones are downregulated. So you're eating little, but you're not hungry, and that is a sign of devastation.
Yeah.
Your body is just in fight or flight mode. So whenever they stop dieting, they start to eat what they used to. They gain all the weight back. And then now they think the only way that they can lose weight is to do that again.
And that's the thing.
And that's the vicious cycle of yo-yo dieting and fad diets. And people just get caught into this thing because they don't want to learn the information for themselves. They want somebody to be told what to do.
Yeah, and that's
it's
what
easier.
We do, though. I mean, that's what we do. As what our business is. But to be fair, it's taken us years to learn everything and to try and fail. And even with Chase, doing all this research and us both getting, certificates and the studying of that. I mean, it's just, we are doing this because we want to give as much of our knowledge that we can to other people to help them sustain this for the rest of their life. Okay. And I see it every single day. And again, this is a podcast subject. He's passionate about mental health. I'm so passionate about being able to reduce hypertension and get somebody off their medication just by diet and exercise. Like that, to me, I literally feel like I've won the day whenever I am able to educate on that. Talking about diabetes and the chronic, conditions that come from that, chronic kidney failure. You could possibly be on dialysis. You could possibly lose your limbs. I mean, I just, it's one of those things where to me, there's no choice but to make it a lifestyle. Yeah. And that's what we do. This is why Attained Athletics, in my opinion, is going to change lives and work in the long run, is because Chase and I are teaching people how to not only give us their feedback, we require a weekly check-in from them on their mental state, their energy levels, their stress levels, but also if they went off plan, why did they go off plan? And that verbalizes from them what their problem was during the weekend, and then they tell me how they could correct it. And to me, that's just a huge, and we've talked to clients about it, that's a huge stepping stone. It's because they are able to realize what they did that could have been done better, and then they correct it moving forward. And specifically, one of our people has just made a complete 180 on that, and is just so committed, so dedicated now, macros every single day. It changes lives, and it's because we're teaching people how to do this for the long term. If you come off with us from plan, we give you an exit strategy. You've learned how to track macros. You've learned how to do a nutrition plan yourself. You learned how to do all this stuff to where you aren't coming off of that. And this is exactly what happens in bodybuilding. And you can talk about this, Chase, is you did this coming off of a cut previously. You don't reverse diet, and how much weight. I mean, Alex Toplin, I think he talked about that on his Instagram. His first show, he gained 20 pounds in 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, that's completely it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Especially for contest
Bodybuilders,
prep
preppers.
athletes.
Yeah.
And no, that was a really solid plug, baby. Yeah, I love everything that you just said.
Well, I was just being honest. You know, I mean, it's just one of those things
Yeah,
where,
and I think that's the perfect transition, perfect little pivot point to say that we don't have the secret like sauce. We don't
don't get lost in the sauce.
yeah, we don't have like the magic pill that is going to get you where you want to go.
Don't you wish?
Yeah, well, I wish. We just have I like to call it like a very detailed recipe. Like all the ingredients have to be in line, have to be weighed out accurately, and then like the thing about it is it might take a little bit of time to make this recipe with a bunch of different ingredients.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you want the end result to be good, you have to put the work into it.
I'm so into food. This sounds like whenever you're talking about just recipes, I'm sitting here being like, that sounds like Toll House cookies. Like I have a problem.
Yeah, I'm a week and a half into prep, so I'm kind of hungry already.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like we don't have the magic pill, and that's the thing when it comes to like the strategy that we like to give our clients the opportunity to pick what they want to do. And at the end of the day, we don't care if you do keto, paleo, whatever. If you found something that works for you, who are we to say that you can't do that? Do we have reservations about it? Of course, because the thing about it is dieting is already hard enough as it is. If you take something like keto and then you say, you know, you can't have one major macronutrient, then you've made it even harder because you've cut out 33% of all foods. So now you just have to be even more stressed out about finding things to eat. And the thing about humans is like we're so defiant by nature. I mean, if you think about like when we were kids,
diet rebellion.
Yeah, if somebody told you not to do something, that's the only thing you want to do. And it's the thing, it's the same every time we ask somebody like, oh, you did keto, that's cool. Like, how did you like it? They were like, oh, I liked it. I lost a good bit of weight on there. I'm like, oh, cool. So like you were in a caloric deficit. That's great. You lost some weight. What happened afterwards? They were like, well, I gained a lot of weight back. And I'm like, well, why do you think that was? Like, what happened during the process? Or like, what did you do when you were on keto? They were like, oh, well, I mean, I cut out all carbs and I cut out like all flours and sweets and everything. I'm like, oh, okay. What did you think about the entire time you were dieting? They were like, well, carbs and flour and sweets. I'm like, oh, what was the first thing that you ate when you stopped doing keto? Carbs and flours and sweets. I'm like, exactly. Yeah. Because like when you limit your ability to eat a certain food group, it's the only thing you're going to think about unless you're super just dedicated and focused. And because keto has a lot of health benefits.
Yeah, but we even know keto people that do diet breaks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those things. It's, again, Chase and I have, I mean, I've personally done a modified keto. 2018, I did one before I went to my friend's wedding. It was modified. I'm talking like 100 grams of carbs is modified for me. Okay, like keto people are like,
it was just low carb then.
Low carb, yeah. To me, it was keto. Okay?
Under 50 is technically, I guess, keto.
I've never done Weight Watchers. My sister-in-law has. Haley has had great success with Weight Watchers. You know, I mean, it's just one of those things. But again, I think that's why that Chase kind of hit the nail on the head there. He requires people to tell him what their thoughts are on it or like what happened in that, and that makes them verbalize what the issue was and how to correct it. And again, that's something that to me is like so special about the way that like he coaches, and of course like I coach in the same way, but specifically him. It's like, it's just interesting to me that you require people to verbalize what went wrong. And like my dad used to do this with me with ball, my pitching. I had to tell him like what was wrong with that. And if you can tell, like you can verbalize what was wrong with it yourself, you're instantly going to fix it. Like that's the biggest problem.
I love that.
Yeah. It's like, what did I do wrong? I'm going to fix it. And you just fixed it by telling me what you did. I didn't even have to do anything. I just was like, wow, thank you for telling me that. You just made my job easier, you know?
Mm-hmm. People are a lot smarter than a lot of other people give them credit for. It just takes thinking about it.
Yeah.
And finding the problem.
It's just, again, we're not, I don't want people to come for us because we're going in on this. It's just what we've done. I mean, Chase and I have done all of this. Diet. We've done Whole30. Mm-hmm. We did Whole30 in Richmond. I've done paleo. So this is personal experience for us.
And that's the thing. If you are in a caloric deficit and you enjoy the foods that you eat, you are going to have success.
Yes.
But if you
Oreos and wine.
Even if you are in a caloric deficit and you are doing something that you cannot see yourself sustaining for the long term. If you are doing keto, but you're not going to do keto the rest of your life, what is the point? The health and the weight loss benefits of a diet like that do not outweigh the what's going to happen afterwards whenever you get off of that.
Right.
If you don't have the exit strategy. So the thing is like, we don't care what diet you do. If you like to do a certain thing, that's your prerogative. If you are in a caloric deficit, you will lose weight. But understand, if you can't sustain this for the rest of your life, it's not going to work for you.
Right.
And that's why we do what we do, because it works.
Just works. I mean, that's the thing is we preach 80% whole foods, 20% soul foods. Okay. So for me personally, I like Oreo Thins. During prep, do I eat Oreo Thins? Maybe 2. Okay. Like 2 total. You just got to learn how to modify. And that's the thing is you can't go overboard, and everything is tracked. I don't restrict. At the end of the day, I feel I'm going to be completely transparent here. I have a package of M&Ms almost every single day when I'm at work, and it's 240 calories. I know how many carbs, how many proteins, how many fat is in it, and I work my day around that because I personally want that. I need that mid-afternoon pick-me-up. Again, I'm not encouraging you to do that, but it works for me when I'm not on prep. If I'm on prep and I'm going to have a window to go in, I'm not going to do that. Just like Chase. Chase is in a prep. He's got 16 weeks or so right now, 15. Yeah, he eats the same thing every single day.
At the exact same time.
At the exact same time. And that is what gives him these results to be absolutely peeled. That means shredded, if you didn't know. So it's just one of those things. But it's a lifestyle. He does it for 15 weeks, and then you come off of it. We reverse diet. We have an exit strategy to where he doesn't gain 30 pounds back in 2 days because he doesn't binge. And
you can maintain a lean tone physique.
Yeah.
For like year round. And that's the great thing about it is whenever you lose a bunch of weight and then you gain a bunch of weight, what's the point? You just spend all that time dieting and then you just gain it all back because
in 2 days,
like with no self-control, if you do the thing properly and you put just as much work into your diet or into your reverse as you did your diet, you're going to be able to keep your physique and be able to eat more. And that's the great thing about it.
Package for the next show or next year is going to be even better.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something else I want to touch on is like me and Lindsey didn't invent flexible dieting and if it fits your macros. It just works for us. And that's the thing is if you look at every single competition prep athlete, if you look at the people who are standing on stage who have the best physiques in the world, those people follow these strategies.
Yep.
Because it's easy. It's something they can do year round. It's something they can do for the rest of their life. It makes it to where they can fuel their body with what they need, 80% whole foods. They can get macro, micronutrients and allow their body to function optimally in how it was intended to run. Mm-hmm. But they can also fit in the things that they love. And that's the great thing about it. And that's why it works. And I'm like, when we got into this, my thought was, if the best physically looking people in the world can do this and have a lot of success, everybody can. I mean,
well, and that's something that like I want to touch on. Chase, when this all started, and like even before, he was like, I just don't have the genetics to look like that. Like, I just don't have the genetics to look like that.
I blamed it on everything.
Yeah. I specifically remember you saying that over and over and over and over again. And he and I have the same body type, like we both have left handles, we're both hippie, that kind of thing. But his first cut, he was like, wow, it's all there. I just had to lose the fat.
Yeah. I blamed it on everything in the world.
Yeah.
And it just came down to I was lazy. I didn't want to put the work in.
And let's keep in mind too, your parents did a thing back in the 90s.
Body for Life.
Body for Life, and they were freaking shredded. Mm-hmm. Your mom, 6-pack. Your dad, 6-pack. Like they were lean as machines. And I'm like, you've got the genetics, but here I am being over here thick and living my best life. Like I don't care. And
that's another thing we need to dive into is like in a future podcast is just finding your why. Like, why do you want to do this? What's going to make you actually get over the hump? And
that's a whole different
tell
day,
yourself.
that's a whole podcast.
Yeah, we need to write that down.
Yeah. Okay, so we're getting close to the 30-minute mark, so I wanted to go ahead and jump on the questions. I do this on Instagram, and Facebook. I did it kind of late on Facebook tonight, but anyway, first one. This is a client of ours. How do you do groceries and prep process? Grocery, Walmart pickup. Chase and I are creatures of habit. Again, like I said, he's on a 14-and-a-half-week prep. From this point forward, he eats the exact same thing at the exact same time every day for 14 weeks. That part of that is very easy. I don't care to eat the same foods every day. It doesn't bother me. So we eat ground turkey, ground venison, chicken, turkey burgers, all that. We have a grocery list that we put together, and it's about the same thing every single week. Chase goes and gets it. If there's anything I want to add on, which I don't because I don't know how to cook, then he would add it on. But literally that's it. And then he's just started prepping all of our stuff on the Blackstone.
Yeah, and when it comes to grocery shopping, I am obsessed.
Oh, I can't
going
go
into the store.
I can't go.
And looking at nutrition labels, because a lot of it makes you laugh. When you actually, when you get to understand nutrition labels, it's really funny, especially when it comes to keto products. Whenever you look at like keto bread or keto cereal, it's like you look at it and keto is high fat, low carb, and then you look at it and you're like, this has 2 grams of fat, and it has 14 grams of carbs and 6 grams of protein. How does that make it keto?
Net.
Right. They subtract the dietary fiber out of it.
Right. Anyway.
But anyway, that's what I do when I go grocery shopping. So I just go to the store. We shop at Walmart, and I go and walk around each aisle, and I look at things that look good and something that I might want, and then I look at the nutrition label and say, is this worth getting? If I get like a condiment that's 180 calories per serving,
nope.
Absolutely, I'm not going to get that. I'll find an alternative that's a lower calorie. Yeah. And that's when you really start to get to understand foods, when you start to understand things that you're putting in your shopping cart. Understand nutrition labels. And that's going to like help so much in the long run, especially when it comes down to tracking your food.
Yeah.
So I love to go in and just
perimeter of the grocery store. We mainly buy we at all times keep frozen vegetables. We don't buy fresh veggies at all. We keep everything frozen. We have
to have convenience.
Yeah, it's a way of life at this point. However, we're going to, he does everything on a Blackstone now. Our chicken, my ground turkey, I eat 93.7 ground turkey. He gets the huge pack of chicken breasts, cuts them up into strips or cubes them maybe before Blackstones them, and then some veggie fried rice for me, cauliflower. I mean, just different things. But the broccoli, the Brussels, all that gets cooked the same day because that would go bad quicker. But meats are always prepped. That's my biggest advice. Prep your meat for an easy. Throw it in the microwave, and then vegetable, or then microwave your side for your carbs, because that's the biggest thing for me. Is it's got to be done, or I'm getting Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
seriously.
Yeah, and that's actually going to be another podcast.
Oh, Lord,
not Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
but like how to be successful. It's just like you just have to give that little bit extra.
Yeah,
you just have to do just a tiny bit more to do the things you want to do to get where you want to go, because meal prep really isn't hard. It doesn't take a long time when you start to understand it.
Meal prep was a lot easier without a kid. I mean, it was a Sunday. We would go to church, come home. We had a set routine. He and I would both prep at the exact same time. We're both working on something. Meal prep might have taken us 2 hours together total in the kitchen prior. All of our meals done, everything weighed out. Now, I don't even prep my food anymore. I just make turkey, and I grab the bird's eye cauliflower rice.
Once you get it down to like a science, and you can cook multiple things at one time and then weigh everything out, you can get everything done in an hour. When it comes to like, if you just want to put your proteins in the oven, put sweet potatoes in the oven, put rice in the microwave, have everything kind of going at one time.
Yeah,
you can get it done in an hour. And people are like, oh, I don't have an hour. If you have an hour to sit down and watch 4 episodes of Netflix at night, you have time to meal prep time is when once a week. So
okay, so a friend of mine says thoughts on intermittent fasting, not for the long term. Personally, I love intermittent fasting. Chase does too. Whenever Riley's breath really stinks, I'm so sorry, it was right in my face. Wow, that might have been a toot. Do you smell that?
No, I don't.
Okay, he just came over here to toot on me and then walked away. Okay, anyway, we love intermittent fasting. I personally don't see anything wrong with it for a long term. If you're like me and you like to eat, I love breakfast. So that's why it doesn't work for me, is because I want to eat within 30 minutes of waking up. I truly love eating a breakfast item. However, deep into prep, whenever I'm very hungry and I only have a certain amount of calories I'm working with, I'm still going to eat the same amount of calories I would have eaten if I started at 7, but I get to eat them in a shorter amount of time, which means I'm fuller. So it's a mind trick. So there's personally nothing wrong with it as long as you're still getting those calories in. As long as you're not in a caloric deficit that's super dangerous and your body and the metabolism is like, oh, I just can't eat anymore. You can't do that. So you got to monitor everything, track everything, make sure you're not under eating. It's just a tool that really helps accelerate your dieting process and allowing you to trick your mind into being more full, but you're eating the same amount.
You hit the nail on the head when you said it's a tool.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what it is. And that's another thing that was really marketed to be more than what it was. And
right.
It's only a tool to decrease the window when you eat. It's not going to speed up your metabolism. It's not going to make you lose fat faster. It's just going to make you eat less calories in the morning, which lets you eat more in the afternoon and makes you less hungry.
Right.
So yeah, when I get deeper into prep and I'm eating less calories, I'm definitely going to use intermittent fasting because it's going to be easier for me not to eat in the morning than it is for me not to eat later at night.
Right.
And that's the thing is when it comes to intermittent fasting, there's always a caveat when it comes to health and fitness. Like if you work out in the morning and your workouts are suffering, then intermittent fasting is not for you. You need to eat before you go to work out.
That's me. 100%.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely on an individual basis, but there's nothing wrong with intermittent fasting.
Coffee for me, like I have to have coffee when I wake up. Again, but for me, if I'm intermittent fasting and I drink my coffee in the mornings, that helps me. Even though if I put sugar-free almond milk in it, that breaks the fast, whatever. But
nobody cares. I'm like, shut up.
Whatever. It does help me as far as like feeling like I can prolong that fast even longer. Like if I do that and I get it in my mind and I get busy at work, I can prolong it till 12. Once I open that though, once I take that seal off, it's like
Game
a
over.
Bottomless pit. And that's the problem for me with that. Is it like I want to eat all my foods at one time and then I'm done.
Yeah,
all my foods
your
in
hunger
one
hormones
sitting.
are
It's like an
building
OMAD.
throughout this entire time,
Right.
and then it's just like I want to do this now.
Right. So that's probably all we have time for. It. We're about 31 minutes in.
Let's do one more.
Oh, one more. Okay. We have I want to learn more about counting macros. So, you want to just do it?
AttainedAthletics.com.
Yeah. So, quick little rundown on that. What are macros? Protein, carbs, fat. Okay. We count macros, your total caloric intake for the day, right? When we say calorie deficit, that's really what matters the most. Protein, carbs, fat. Protein is 4 calories per gram. Carbs is 4 calories per gram. Fat is 9 calories per gram. That's why foods that are higher in fat are going to be higher in calories. Okay. That's how you get to be a higher caloric food. Chase really spent a freak ton of time on making that masterclass on nutrition. I would encourage everyone. It's on our website, AttainedAthletics.com, masterclass on dieting. It is literally everything you could ever want to know about macros ever in life. Like starting with the basic of what is a calorie, like the nutritional definition, all the way up to reverse dieting. He covers every single part of it. And it truly is like the best investment. If you didn't get anything else, I'd say get that.
Yeah, if you are somebody that is a go-getter and you're like, I just need a direction. And a lot of people, that's the case.
Yeah.
They just need the information and then they're like, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
If that's you, the masterclass is the way to go. It's going to teach you anything and everything that you need to know about diet, nutrition, the whole thing. So if
we
you're
just
that
don't,
person.
and he teaches you how to calculate your own. That's just the difference in our coaching clients versus that is that we, the coaching is truly a one-on-one situation. Chase and I are deep diving into everybody's diaries and trackings and everything. We adjust everything ourselves based on our goals. So, and
that's the thing about macros is every single body in the world is different. Everybody has a different set of caloric values, and their intake's going to be different. Their macro percentages are going to be different based on their body type. So, yeah, that's the thing is macros are extremely important when it comes to diet and nutrition.
It is everybody not that one shoe fits all or whatever that saying is. Like that's the biggest thing that drives me crazy about macro calculators.
Just one shoe fits all.
What is that? What was the saying? I forgot. I don't know. One size.
Yeah.
One size. Oh, sorry. It's not, it's very, very specific. I mean, I remember back in 2018, whenever I was in the middle of a cut and I had lost probably 10 pounds or so, and people at work were like, oh, can you like help me with mine? And it would take me 10 minutes to calculate. I would hand calculate it, right? 10 minutes to calculate it. And they're like, what are all these numbers? I'm like, this is what your macros are. Like, this is very specific to you. Like, this is specific to how aggressive we want to be. Like, it's not just a one size fits all.
Yeah. Well, then once you figure out your macros for your body, usually it gives you a recommendation of what your maintenance calories is. Maintenance calories, maintenance macros, what you can eat to not gain or lose weight, just to be in a maintaining phase.
Yeah.
Then once you know your macros, you have to know what to do with them. You have to know how much to subtract to be in a caloric deficit, how to create a further caloric deficit by either restricting food intake or increasing your cardio.
Yep.
Or if you want to gain muscle and you want to get into a surplus, you got to be in a caloric surplus to be able to do that. So you really got to understand what macros are, what your macro numbers are, and then how to adjust them depending on what your goals are.
Yep.
And the cool thing about it is macros change, because when I first started this, I was eating like 1,400 calories or something, and macros were low. Now, when I'm in the off season, I eat over 3,000 calories, and macros are super high. So they can change. You just got to understand what works best for your body and really how to adjust them.
No fat gaining that too, guys. Like, that's what's the crazy part, is he's able to do that. I'm able to do that. I've increased mine.
And you're able to do that as well.
Oh, yes. I've currently done it with 400 increase over the past 4 weeks. And
your reverse has been wild.
Not gaining any weight. So I'm about to go into this cut. Woohoo! Oreos for life. Okay. I think that's it.
Cool. Well, no, thank y'all so much for tuning in to episode number 2. And we have a list of things that we want to talk about, but we also want to hear from you guys. We want this to be an interactive process with the people who are going to invest in us. So let us know if there's anything that y'all would want us to talk about, or if you have questions that you want us to answer at the end of these. Feel free to reach out. And
anything goes on those too, guys. It's not just to do with this.
Yeah. All right. Well, Attained State of Mind, episode 2, signing off. Thanks, guys.
Boo.
Hey, everyone. We hope you enjoyed the podcast.
If you're interested in becoming a part of the Attained Athletics family, you can find us on Instagram and at our website, attainedathletics.com.
And stay tuned for more.